Now let's come back to Nigeria. Now, despite ample supplies, petroleum products and marketers, we've heard a lot coming from there, from the president of Aliko Dangote Industries, when he went to meet with the president, asking marketers and the NNPCL to come buy his products and to stop importing. Of course, there have been reactions after that. If you watch a sister program, Sunrise Daily, you had Ipman coming there to say, well, they have been attempting to buy petrol from Dangote refineries, and they've had to wait 4 days or so on the road. So it's important that we do clarify this, even though I think the latest perspective now is that filling stations or petrol stations now are empty. The increase of price, of course, the latest one that makes petrol at least 1,020 naira in Nigeria, and that's in Lagos for NNPC filling stations. Well, that seems to have reduced the demand for it. I don't know, but let's get to the matter right now with Mr. Calvin Emmanuel. Mr. Calvin Emmanuel is an economist, joins us right here in the studio. Good to have you in the Lagos studio. Good. Not a usual sight, but it's good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, I mean, I know that you do a lot of research into all of this, the petrol consumption, petrol availability, crude. And, I mean, Mr. Dangote did not mince words when he did say that he has products, he can feed the nation, but his products are not being taken off him, and it's even costing him money. What do you know about all of this?
I'll tell you what, I'll say NNPC today, like you said, is in dire need of engineers and not expert traders. NNPC, midstream, upstream, downstream, has more traders than you have engineers. NNPC's major work is in NUPIMS, upstream petroleum investment services, and E&P. That's their bread and butter. It's been my personal opinion that NNPC retail should not be. NNPC should focus on upstream and midstream. Okay? So, for example, you have Dangote Refinery currently doing 32 million liters per day of PMS. It's currently at 425,000 barrels of crude oil capacity utilization. 60% of the crude oil feedstock it uses daily is purchased in US dollars. Even the current Naira-based crude oil sales, only about 4 cargoes has been delivered for the month of October. Okay? NNPC does not have pipeline infrastructure. Now, Nigeria has 5,001 kilometers of multi-product pipeline, gas gathering, transmission, and distribution. Gathering is taking crude oil feedstock and gas from wellheads to flow station terminals, flow station points, gas gathering and crude oil gathering points. Transmission is taking it to terminals. Distribution is midstream and downstream. You had the Atlas Cove and Musimi. Yep. You have the regional storage distribution company that was allocated to 4 zones: Kaduna, Musimi, Warri, and Port Harcourt, under former PPMC. So as we speak today, Musimi and Atlas Cove, that should be like infrastructure for taking PMS from Dangote, is not available. So you have all kinds of costs. But now, let's look at it. Number one, why are the marketers not taking PMS from Dangote? In September, they imported 1 billion liters or 814,000 metric tons. In October deliveries, they did about 242,000 metric tons or 352 million liters. Why are they not wanting to stop? There were offshore blending agreements, take-or-pay blending agreements in Central Europe, where you transship off-spec petrol gotten from refineries in Russia. Russia is under an oil price cap because of the Russia-Ukraine invasion, sanctions. So it's strategically cheaper for you to buy off-spec in a country like Russia, send it to a blending plant in Central Europe, and when you cure it with naphtha condensates, you put it in another vessel so that you don't get sanctioned by international community. And this is what has always happened. And people have been benefiting from arbitrage, because it's been my personal opinion that the landing price of PMS in Nigeria does not reflect the dynamics that goes into the inputs for calculating PMS purchase, blending, and transportation to Nigeria. So it's a widely beneficial business for these marketers to run the model they've always operated to import products into Nigeria than it is to buy from Dangote, because under the Dangote framework is more transparent. The government sees it. I'll tell you, people, the number one question on the lips of Nigerians today is, why is Dangote not able to tell them the price? And I say this all the time. The pricing mechanism for PMS is not as straightforward as people think it is. Okay? What typically you have is NNPC just comes and says, this is our landing price, and then the government takes it. But let's break it down so that we can answer the question that people have always asked. What is the price of PMS? It's dynamic. Number one and the most important component is Platts. Platts is a global system for gasoline pricing. It also works for LNG, it works for LPG, it works for crude oil. It's a global system used by all the refineries around the world. Yeah? Platts depends on the price of crude oil, the location of crude oil, the grade of crude oil. There is the heavy, there is the medium, there is the light grade. Nigeria has a light grade crude oil. When Aliko was importing crude oil, it was importing heavy crude from North and South America. Yeah, but now most of the crude oil feedstock, gotten from companies, operators in Nigeria, most of which is purchased in US dollars, are actually sourced within Nigeria. Yeah, that's Platts. So basically, if, for example, your Platts system that is currently moving up and down on a daily basis is at $700 or $750, you divide it by 1,341 liters per metric ton to get your raw price. Then you have a premium. Premium is the additional costs that a refiner has because of the grade of PMS that is producing. Dangote is producing Euro V 95 to 97 research octane number that's accepted anywhere based on American Society of Testing and Material. It's a globally acceptable grade that any regulator in the world can accept. So the grade of PMS that he's refining in Lagos can be used in the UK, can be used in the EU, can be used in America. Is way better than the imported PMS.
Okay, so let me ask this from your explanation. Are you saying, because everybody is in business to make profits. Dangote is in business to make profits. The marketers are in business to make profits. So are you saying that the structure that we have in the value chain, the petroleum value chain in Nigeria, it's more profitable for an individual or a business to import petrol, PMS, into the country than, purchasing from a domestic refiner?
It's more profitable because the structure of calculating the landing price is fraudulent. That's what I'm trying to explain. So the arbitrage opportunity favors them, and because they are not going to make as much arbitrage as they usually make from the importation of PMS, this is the reason why they are complaining. If not, Dangote has, like you said, 500 million liters of PMS stored in Lagos. Why are they not taking products? Last week, 79 million liters was shipped from Lekki Refinery to Apapa. Yes? And they've taken about, I'll say, a little over 200 million liters within the last month from Dangote Refinery. He has enough. He's doing 32 million liters a day. It's more profitable for them, but his price is cheaper than the landing price that they quote for the PMS landing into Nigeria, because at the landing price of over 1,100 naira per liter, they were collecting an under recovery from the government. And that's the reason why NNPC wasn't able to remit any money to the government. NNPC seized the revenues that were due to the Federation account from NLNG, because NNPC is a nominal shareholder on the board of NLNG. NLNG paid over $600 million in dividends for 2023 financial year. NNPC as a nominee shareholder seized it and refused to remit that money to the Federation account, which is another subject entirely. They've not been able to remit any distance to the Federation account based on what the PIA says. In 2023, the records show Nigeria produced 537 million barrels of crude oil. That's down from 800 million barrels they were doing about 10 years ago. That's crude oil fiscalization production stock. NNPC said they lifted 196 million barrels of crude oil. Yeah? They were supposed to lift 275 million barrels of crude oil. Number one, why are they not able to supply Dangote with the feedstock he needs? Number two, why are they not able to earn enough dollars
I'm sure
to remit to the government?
They have other responsibilities and all of that. But so let's staying on this now. So where do we go from here now? We have heard there's no more subsidy, which takes NNPC off. It's supposed to take them off the value chain. You understand? So, and we have heard announcement that marketers can actually buy directly from Dangote. So why are we still having all of these conversations?
The marketers use the inventory system of NNPC. Okay?
Although Ipman had said that they do have some funds with the NNPC, I think that they were supposed to have been done with that obligation, but they are not at this point. Maybe is that what I think, about 4 billion or so? Is that what we're waiting for before the marketers can directly get products from?
To be honest with you, I don't know why, following the directive of the Federal Executive Council that they are obeying Sections 205 of the Petroleum Industry Act to deregulate downstream sector for petrol, why Ipman is still going to NNPC or working under NNPC's inventory management system. Because they in all the controversy I've seen and all the interviews I've watched so far that members of Ipman and the president has granted, I'm surprised. He says that he's not able to get. Dangote is in Lagos. Go to the office in Lagos and discuss a commercial framework for collecting products from the refinery. The refinery is open for. In fact, recently at the OTL conference, downstream conference in Lagos, the Ghanaian regulator says that Ghana uses about $4.8 billion to import products from Rotterdam and Antwerp. And they are considering doing backward integration by 2025 to take products from Lagos, because Lagos to Accra, the coastline is shorter and the fees are lesser for them to ship from Lagos, the grade, than to bring from Europe. So if Ghana is considering taking products from Nigeria, why is Ipman saying that he cannot take products from Dangote? There's something wrong there, and it's definitely not Dangote's fault.
All right. Well, it looks like it's something we would have to continue discussing and bringing to the limelight, and hopefully one day we would have an answer, to all of this. But thank you so much for your time.
Thanks,
Economist Kelvin Emmanuel, for joining us in the studio.
Thank you for having me.